Welcome to the 2022 Economic Preparation and Depression channel. Thank you for joining me on this Friday edition, July 29th, 2022. Well, we ended the month on a bang. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel. And I read everyone's comments. Thank you for letting me know on the last video. I apologize for the volume. The mic volume was kind of loud. But hopefully it's fixed this video. Happy weekend, happy Friday. We're going to be talking about the inflation figures that continue to grow in both the European Central Bank and in the United States and elsewhere as well. So just know that every country is dealing with inflation. There's higher inflation numbers than outside of the United States, but the inflation in the United States is going to be a long and persistent one because we have a $15 trillion economy that has to go through. And so it's going to take longer and persistent efforts to bring it down, and it's not going to go down easily. So as you can see here, CNBC.com today, the Dow closed up 300 something points, but inflation figures, they hit levels, of course, since 40 years ago, January 1982. We're still at the new index came out today. The personal consumption expenditures, the PCI index came out. It was up. It rose 6.8% in June. In July, it went up too as well, I'm pretty sure. And this is excluding food and energy costs, as you know. So it's increased almost 5% from a year ago. Man, how are you long for the days that gas was $1.87 under the former administration? Isn't that crazy how things have changed in the last 3 or 4 years? But like I said, I don't get political on this channel. We don't blame any one side. Some see signs around people saying, "Oh, Biden and this, or the administration is this, or this president would have done better." But the fact of the matter is, we've been living high off the hog in terms of spending money, government spending, and also other spending for the last 13, 14 years. Since 2008, there's been unlimited QE. That's quantitative easing. So at any given point, this economy was doomed to have some type of inflation, and now we're starting to see it now. Some 14 years later, here we are. So guys, inflation and the personal consumer expenditures, basically this means that people are starting to consume less, buying less goods and services. They're only buying the essential. Discretionary income in terms of things is going down for the latest 2 months, and it will continue to go down, guys, later on this year. So inflation, as I predicted, is heading toward 10% officially. Now, we know inflation is already at 20% unofficially, but official numbers are going to head toward 10% coming up in the fall. Eurozone economy, according to CNBC.com, only grows 0.7% in the second quarter here, despite gas crisis. As you know, they're rationing gas now in Europe. The European Union agreed to ration natural gas, because of what's going on with the Russia situation. And so now inflation is surging because they're doing the same thing here. They're printing up money in the Eurozone, the European Central Bank, and you guys are feeling it over there, everywhere from Romania and Czech Republic back toward the UK and the Brexit zone. Everybody's feeling it in Europe as well. Young people are telling me in Spain and in Portugal, those places, that jobs are hard to come by. Unemployment is increasing, and it's the same over here, same in Asia and South America as well, in Africa. So here is the issue. We have increasing debt loads. We have stagnating wages. Remember, nobody's getting a wage increase in the last 15, 20 years, a real wage increase. They were planning on upping the Social Security checks for our seniors. That has not yet passed, but they're planning on passing a bill for semiconductors that I talked about yesterday. And also they're planning on passing another bill to give money to corporations who are going to create jobs in the tech space to help younger people there. So the Dow Jones goes higher in spite of the hot inflation report. Now you have to remember, guys, what happened in Venezuela and other countries, in Turkey, Greece, Lebanon. Their stock markets melted up for a time while the economy was collapsing and the currency was collapsing. Same thing is going to happen here, but it's going to take more time because we have a bigger economy and bigger tech titans. So Amazon, Apple were up after reporting strong earnings late Thursday. Of course, they're up. They're the monopolies. Amazon, the FANG stocks are monopolies. They own 85 to 90% of the stock market is controlled by the FANG stock, or the blue chip, the big tech stocks, as you know. So of course they're up. Amazon surged 11%. Apple surged 2.5% before the market opened. So, of course, and the gas and the solar was up too. Chevron, ExxonMobil, for solar, they were all up. That's no surprise there, guys. You know why? During the pandemic, guess who was closed down? It was the small businesses, the mom and pop businesses. All of our businesses was closed down, and guess who still remained? It was the Amazons, the Targets, the Walmarts. Those services still remained. Obviously, this is by design. Now we see it's by design to continue to squeeze out the middle class, to shut down the opportunities, and now we're in a situation. So a couple of things to look forward to as we head into this third quarter of the year. We're going to look forward to more inflation. Taxes. One thing I'm interested to see is if property taxes come up or down as the housing market begins to cool down. People are housing to stand on the market no longer. The newer single-family homes, they're no longer sold right off the lot as if they've been built. And so this is interesting to see. Let me know what you're seeing in terms of in the Northeast or in the Southeast or in the Midwest or in the West about your property taxes. I'll be interested to see is it going to be going up this next year or down as the prices, as it adjusts the prices coming down on some of these houses and stuff. Another thing we're going to be interested to see is how is the how are they going to print up more money to handle the wall? As you guys know, we've had a border crisis here for the last last 4 or 5 years, and President Biden just approved money to finish up the wall there in Yuma, Arizona, that portion there going across there all the way there, I guess, toward El Paso or Juarez, New Mexico. So guys, what do you think about that? We've got money going to that wall to finally, first the Democrats criticized the wall. They said they don't want it. Now Biden approves money to ironically finish this wall that we didn't have because President Trump asked for a lot of money, as you know, and we said we didn't have it, and now we couldn't get the infrastructure bill passed, but now we've gotten a couple of $1 billion to finish this wall, which is badly needed. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying that now we're spending money on all of these different things, and this is what's going to break the economy, is that we haven't even counted in the natural disasters. We had fires and floods, and we had floods in Kentucky last week. This week, in St. Louis. This week we got floods in eastern Kentucky and Appalachia. We've got hurricane season that's coming up. It hadn't really got started. Hurricane season doesn't peak, as you know. The peak of the hurricane season coming in, guys, is from August, to mid-September. That's the first peak, and then there's a second peak in mid-October. You can check it out on nationalhurricanecenter.com, nhcnoaa.gov. But those are the two peaks of the hurricane season. We haven't gotten there yet. So if anybody from the Gulf Coast, Houston, Beaumont, down to Brownsville, all the way from New Orleans, all the way back through the Gulf Coast, Mobile, hey, if one storm hits there or if it hits over in the Atlantic side towards North Carolina or something, that's going to cause gas prices to explode again. That's going to cause a lot of pain in terms of supply and shipping prices for Americans. So I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an advisor, but my best suggestion is to continue to prepare, and you guys know that. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I would also look at ways to cut back on subscription services. Netflix, cut back on that. Amazon Prime, you might need it, you might not need it, but if you can, you might want to cut back. I notice the price is rising of that every year, and you probably noticed that too, and it's jumping by double digits in terms of percentage points rise. Maybe you don't need to have cable TV in every room, like a 3 or 4 cable TV boxes. Maybe you can cut that back and send it back and get a Roku or Amazon Fire Stick. Maybe you can cut back on your vehicle. Maybe you can trade in one of your used cars and get a lot of money for it and get another newer used car. That'll save you money on some of repairs or whatever. But we have to cut back on some of our discretionary income spending in terms of spending, because things are going to get rocky here, and our dollar is devaluing every single day. And that's the problem. You may have some savings, but your dollar is devaluing. Interest rates are going up on some of these savings accounts. I know it's up to like 1.7% APY, but that's nothing compared to the 80s before we had the savings and loans crisis. And that so that's something we have to look forward to. But in any event, guys, I want to tell you guys to have a great weekend. Despite all of this bad news, the good news is God has blessed us tremendously here. It could have just collapsed like in other countries in 1 or 2 days or a week, and then everybody's just, the banking system freezes, everything freezes, and you can't get any money. So at least in the United States and in Europe, the credit markets are still flowing, and the food and everything is not being rationed yet, and gas is not being rationed yet. So there's a lot of bright spots. I'm not a doom and gloomer completely. There's a lot of bright spots. Even though we're in a recession, there's still some bright spots that we can be blessed and thankful for. In every part of this country, as you know, and even though and as you can say, I'm sure most of us would rather be here than another country, another country that may be struggling tremendously with a total government collapse and a social collapse. That's the most deadly combination. And so we're getting there slowly, but it's not as fast as other countries. It would have been in other countries. So this is a blessing for us to take care of our neighbors, take care of ourselves, continue to stay informed. And remember, of course, to share, because sharing is caring. So God bless you guys. I'll see you guys. Have a good weekend. I'll try to make a video before the first of the month. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, because I may be try on the road again. But be blessed, and I'll take care, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thank you for listening.